Okay, I want you to forget everything you think you know about self-help books, because what we're looking at today, this isn't that. This is something else entirely. We're about to crack open what is, for all intents and purposes, the missing instruction manual for the human mind. Let's dive in. I mean, seriously, just think about that for a second. What if you could actually see the underlying code that runs your personality, the programming that dictates every single success and every single failure? Well, according to a plastic surgeon named Maxwell Maltz, who wrote this book, that source code isn't just a cool what if. It's real, you can observe it, and the best part, you can rewrite it. And that's the absolute key to all of this. We're not talking about positive thinking or just, wishing for a better life. No, we're talking about systems, about feedback loops, about debugging your own mental code. We're gonna start treating the mind less like some big mystery and more like what it is, a machine. An incredibly powerful machine that, turns out, most of us have been using completely wrong. So let's pop the hood and look at the core architecture here. At the very heart of your mind, you have this incredibly powerful built-in operating system, and its main job is just staggering. It is a pre-installed, fully automatic, goal-achieving machine. Now, the technical name for this system is a servo-mechanism. And look, this isn't something you have to remember to turn on in the morning. It is always running. It's a fundamental piece of your biological hardware, and it was designed for one thing and one thing only: hitting targets. And I want you to look at this comparison because this is not a metaphor. This is literally how your brain works. Think about a guided missile. You give it a target, right? And it uses data from all of its misses, what we call negative feedback, to constantly automatically correct its course until it hits. Your nervous system does the exact same thing. You feed it a clear goal and it automatically uses your mistakes as simple data points to steer you right towards it. It's just brilliant. Here's an even simpler way to think about it. It's just like the thermostat in your house. Does your thermostat stress out? Does it worry about being too cold? No, it just senses the gap between where the temperature is and where you want it to be, and it automatically kicks on the furnace to close that gap. Your mind's success mechanism works on that exact same effortless principle for everything. Okay, so if we have this amazing automatic system built right in, why on earth do we fail so often? Why do we get stuck? Well, it turns out there is a critical bug in the way we try to operate this machine, a bug that most of us actually think is a feature. See, your system basically has two modes, two different mechanisms. The success mechanism, the guided missile that gets activated by things like optimism and having a clear goal. But there's also a failure mechanism, and that one gets switched on by frustration, pessimism, and emotional stress. Your state of mind isn't just a mood, it's the actual physical switch that decides which of these two powerful and opposing systems is running the show. And this is the whole ballgame right here. Gritting your teeth, white-knuckling it, and trying harder is precisely what activates the failure mechanism. That intense conscious effort, that frustration when things go wrong, the stress of it all, it's like you're trying to help the automatic pilot by grabbing the controls and jamming them in the wrong direction. That feeling of trying really hard isn't the path to success, it's the bug that guarantees failure. All right, so if jamming the gears with willpower is the bug, what actually governs the output of this whole automatic machine? Well, it turns out there's a master setting, a hidden parameter in the code that controls the absolute limits of the entire system. And that master setting, that's your self-image. It's the sum total of all the beliefs you hold about who you are. And this is not some vague philosophical idea. This is the hard-coded firmware that sets the performance ceiling for your automatic mechanism. It literally defines the boundaries of what's possible for you. Let's go back to that thermostat analogy. Imagine your self-image, your belief about what you deserve or what you're capable of, is set to a nice, comfortable 68 degrees. Now, you can try as hard as you want. You can use all the willpower in the world, but you are never going to get that room to 90 degrees. Ever. Why? Because the system is designed to do one thing, bring the temperature back to its master setting. Your brain will always use negative feedback to pull you back down to the 68 degrees you believe you are. You simply cannot outperform your self-image. To get a new result, you have to change the setting itself. So if conscious effort is the wrong way to interface with this machine, what's the right way? How do you actually get in there, access the source code, and change that internal thermostat setting? The answer is your imagination. And this is the part that sounds like science fiction, but it's neuroscience fact. Your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a real experience and an experience that you imagine vividly and in detail. That's the user interface. You start by defining a crystal clear goal. Then you step into what Maltz called the theater of your mind. You vividly rehearse the successful outcome. You see it, you hear it, you feel it. And crucially, you embrace the feeling of that success. When you do that, your brain records it as a real memory, creating a new success pattern for your automatic mechanism to follow. So let's pull all this together into a really simple protocol. Think of this as your personal debugging guide for your own human operating system. First things first, you have to reframe failure. Stop treating it like it's a verdict on who you are. A miss isn't you being bad, it's just data. It's operational data for your internal guidance system to course correct. That's it. It's just negative feedback. So stay focused on the target, not the error, and consciously disengage from that feeling of frustration. That's how you keep that powerful failure mechanism offline and let the success mechanism do its job. Once you understand this system, you're not just a passenger anymore. You're the programmer. You've got the schematic, and you know how to use the interface to make changes. So the only real question that matters now is the one right there on your screen. What's the first limiting belief? The first faulty assumption? What's the very first line of code you are going to sit down and rewrite?
You just watched the theory. But be warned, knowing the code isn't the same as installing it. Dr. Maltz was explicit. Passive intellectual understanding does not reprogram your servo mechanism. Only consistent, vivid practice can do that. Statistics show that 90% of what you just learned will fade from your short-term memory within 24 hours. Do not let that happen. I have captured this entire engineering diagram in the Psycho-Cybernetics Blueprint, and I have created the 7-day Action Playbook to help you run these protocols daily. Stop treating this like content. Start treating it like your operating system. Download the source code. The link is right below. Thank you for watching.